The night he walked into that small, dimly lit restaurant, Donald wasn't looking for anything except silence, maybe a break from the noise of his own success. But fate had other plans, because the moment he saw her standing there in a worn-out uniform, one hand resting protectively on her pregnant belly, his world shattered. Diane, the woman he once loved more than life itself, the woman he thought had betrayed him. She frowned when their eyes met, her tray trembling, her lips parting like she had seen a ghost. Donald's heart pounded violently, not with anger but something far more dangerous. Regret. Years ago, misunderstandings, pride, and one cruel lie had torn them apart. He had believed she left him for money. She had believed he stopped loving her. And now, here she was, carrying a child, working as a waitress, hiding her pain behind a forced smile. But what broke him wasn't just seeing her struggle, it was watching how gently she treated others. An old man dropped his spoon, and Diane knelt without hesitation, smiling warmly as she helped him. A crying child spilled juice, and she calmed him like an angel. Even in her pain, she chose kindness. Donald realized something. In that moment, this wasn't a woman who could ever betray love. This was a woman who was love. And suddenly, the past didn't matter anymore. Only her did. Only them. Without thinking, Donald stepped forward, his voice shaking as he whispered her name. Diane tried to hold back her tears, but they betrayed her instantly. She turned away, ashamed, not wanting him to see her like this. But Donald gently reached for her hand, the same hand he once promised to never let go. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked softly, his voice breaking as his eyes fell on her belly. Diane finally looked at him, her pain spilling out in silence before she spoke. "Because you stopped believing in me, and I didn't want to beg for love." Those words hit harder than anything. Donald realized the truth hadn't just lost her, he had failed her. And now, she was carrying his child alone. The millionaire who owned half the city had let the only person who mattered suffer in silence. Right there, in the middle of that quiet restaurant, Donald made a decision that would change everything. He didn't offer money. He didn't offer excuses. He simply got down on his knees, in front of everyone, and placed his hand gently over her belly. "I don't deserve a second chance," he said, his voice raw with emotion, "but I'll spend the rest of my life earning it, if you let me." The entire room fell silent. Diane's heart melted because he was rich, not because of his words, but because for the first time, she saw truth in his eyes. Real love, the kind that doesn't run, the kind that stays. Months later, everything had changed, but not in the way people expected. Donald didn't just take Diane back into a luxurious life. He rebuilt her world with patience, respect, and love. He stayed with her through every doctor visit, every sleepless night, every quiet moment where fear tried to creep back in. He listened. He learned it. He loved her the way he should have from the beginning. And when the day finally came, when Diane held their baby in her arms, tears streaming down her face, Donald stood beside her, holding both of them like they were his entire universe, because they were. There were no grand speeches this time, no dramatic promises, just a simple truth in his eyes. He wasn't letting go again. Diane smiled through her tears, leaning into him, finally feeling safe, finally feeling chosen. And in that quiet hospital room, surrounded by love, forgiveness, and a new beginning, they realized something powerful. Sometimes, life breaks you, not to end your story, but to rewrite it into something more beautiful than you ever imagined.